at all?
No, it's good.
Are you
That's
good?
good.
Okay.
Thanks. We're done. We're going.
All right, excellent.
Okay. So,
So
You
tell
know-
me what we're looking at.
yeah, I'm going to tell you what we're looking. You know why? You know what I'm trying to achieve, or what we're trying to achieve. We're making,
You're changing the whole thing.
yeah, actually,
Yeah.
and incorporating it into your workflow.
Mm-hmm.
So that saves you time and frustration.
Both good things.
Both good things. I have a couple of screens here.
Okay.
You got to keep in mind it's a demo. So most things don't work yet,
Yeah.
but it's a quick first view. You're the second one to look at this,
Okay.
and I'm very interested in what your reaction to it is.
Okay.
What I would like you to do now is to take a look at the screen, scroll up and down. Don't click anywhere, please.
Yep.
Scroll up and down and just give me a, talk out loud vision and view on what your thoughts are with the various
Okay.
things, especially in relation to your work.
Okay. So I read top to bottom, generally speaking. So I look at this, and first of all, the renewal stuff to me is not useful because for me, when we send orders to Sweats, we send just keep renewing them until I tell you not to. Don't ask me to review them every year. Don't ask me to confirm them. I just want you to do it unless I say not to. So when I look at this is just confusing to me, the list submitted and the titles confirmed, because to me, I'm not sure, what that means exactly. To me, everything is 100% renewed, unless you're going to tell me something like, this is due to be renewed and Sweats hasn't quite renewed it yet. But in terms of my responsibility, I've told you, just keep renewing it. I don't have anything that I want to have to review. So for me, this being in this top part here, that wouldn't be useful for me. That said, it might be useful for other people. And I don't know if I've seen things like this where you've got like a dashboard kind of thing where you can say, well, yeah, I want to see this widget or whatever up here, but somebody else might want to see it over there kind of thing. So if that's an option, then I would say, all right, renewal progress for me is something I don't even want to see, but maybe new and noteworthy is something I do want to see. So when I look across, order value, I don't know if I would find that useful or not. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Is that referring to everything that's in here, or just the titles confirmed, or what? I'm not positive. The order distribution, again, I think that's it looks like it's part of this. I don't know what they mean by new titles. New things I've just ordered, or, because I don't think I'd ever have 167 new titles. So I'm not sure exactly what that is. And of course, I always love to see what's in the drop down, so I'd be curious what's in the drop down there, but I'm not clicking it.
It won't do anything.
I'm going to guess that that's something to do with being able to configure it, because it's the little cog wheel thing that usually means like you've got options or something. And these make sense to me. Like, what are my renewal settings? If I want to manage lists of things, I'm thinking, or viewing all titles. I'm not totally sure what the difference between those two is, but I bet once I clicked on them and found out, it would be fine. But I'm guessing it's get into the title level detail as opposed to this summary view of things.
Exactly.
So that's what I think about that one. Status, orders, claims, invoices, and requests. Okay, so orders, it kind of looks like I'm not sure exactly what those categories mean, but I'm like, I really don't know what rejected would mean. Who rejected the order? Sweats, the publisher, me? I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess once I figured out what those categories meant, that might be useful. But again, I don't tend to manage my subscriptions in that way. I tend to think of it as, once I've told you that I want it and you confirmed that you're going to get it, I'm going to assume that Sweats is going to keep getting it for me for as long as I need them to, until I say, no, wait, stop, don't do it, don't renew it at the next renewal. So I don't know how useful that would be. This is always a fun one because, of course, you can tell me how many claims you've received, and you can tell me how many claims maybe are pending in terms of how many you have to send out. But Sweats doesn't really know what claims have been resolved, because just because we get an issue doesn't mean that was claimed, doesn't mean that we go in and say to Sweats, hey, we got it. More often than not, we just complain when we don't get it. So looking at this, I tend to ignore this, but my staff come in sometimes and look at it and they're like, but they don't, it doesn't make sense to them because it's not a reflection of what's happened at the library, it's a reflection of what's happened to our claims on the Sweats end of things. So it's not that there's anything wrong with the display, it's just that the data that would be behind it would be hard because it would be another step for the library to have to say, yep, we got that one, yep, we got that one, where we already have to do it in our own system. So I don't know how useful that would be. It's similar to something that's already in SweatsWise, only it just has numbers at the moment. And again, my staff just ignore that right now. 'Cause
Okay.
it's not a useful number to them. Invoices. That would be kind of interesting. I wonder if it would be different at all. We're a prepayment customer, so on July 1st we send, $1 million or whatever it is. And then during the year we get confirming invoices and we have a set invoice schedule from October to May. So in 15 years, we basically never owe Sweats money. We just pay them in July, and then usually, pretty much every year, we end up with a credit in June. And so we request a refund check, and then we get it back. So in terms of using this to know like what's the status of our account, knowing what invoices are considered open or whatever is not useful to us because they're only confirming this is how we Sweats have spent your $1 million. What would be useful to know would be being able to come in here and see the statement of the prepayment account. So you prepaid $1 million in July, and in October we gave you a prepayment credit of this, and then we deducted these invoices and added back these credits, and going on down to be able to download that, or to be able to download a PDF of any of the invoices themselves. I don't know if that would be in here somewhere, but being able to do that without having to say, could I have another copy of invoice number 123? Like that's not, it's easier if they're just there that we can just click on them and download them. So again, I don't know exactly what those categories would be, but I'm sure I'd figure that out. And I have no idea what requests mean. Requests for what? Orders, claims, invoices, information? I'm not sure what that means. So down here we've got two things about titles. My staff are acquisition staff, including me. We buy stuff. We don't get to decide what we buy. We have 25 subject librarians who decide what we buy. So we don't do any really collection development at all. We do a little bit of collection management because we have to, work with the titles we have, but we're never the ones to say, hey, maybe we should get Penguin Plays. It's not our thing. So at MIT, the staff who come in here and use this are really acquisitions, technical servicey type staff. It's not the collection staff. They come in to use the scholarly stats piece, the usage statistics, but I think that that's a totally different thing. I haven't quite figured out how that's integrated yet. So these would be totally not useful to us. Again, if it were a situation where we could say, you know what, I don't need to see new and noteworthy and most popular titles, that'd be great, because it's a collections function that we don't do.
Other people in the library would?
Other people in the library do this stuff, but they aren't logging into SweatsWise
All right.
currently. And we don't have any immediate plans to have them do that. Insights, usage by format. I don't know what the little pro means, but maybe that would be useful. Usage by format. So I'm guessing that in order for this to work, the digital line is coming off of probably the subscriptions we have with Sweats and the usage statistics that they gather in Scholarly Stats for us. The print, I'm guessing, would have to be something we'd uploaded. So this, for us, would be an incomplete picture of all our usage statistics. It might be a snapshot of usage stats of stuff we have with Sweats, although I'm guessing there's probably an option to upload data into there. So far what I've heard from our collections people is that, so far what I've heard is that they're a little bit overwhelmed by it all, so I don't know what they would want to do. Generally speaking, we've not, as a library system, wanted to use a vendor like Sweats to put in data from other sources if we don't have the orders with Sweats. So for example, we have subscriptions that we order direct or through Harasswitz or whatever. We don't necessarily want to put information in there into SweatsWise about those subscriptions. So we don't want to use that necessarily as a platform for crunching usage statistics and cost per use numbers.
Do you do that in your own platform?
I don't do that. The collection staff do. And I'm not really sure where they're doing it or if they're doing it well or if they feel like they have all the tools. That'd be a good question for them. I think that they know, and we have had a discussion before about the scholarly stats piece, they know that they can upload stuff. I don't think that they're doing that though. And I don't know if that's just lack of time, lack of interest, or concerns about the data being there in that location. So I'm not positive what that piece is. But from my perspective, that's not what I come into SweatsWise to do. And the people who would find this useful, this kind of a snapshot thing useful, are also not the people who are logging into SweatsWise. Really, there's about, 7 of us who log in, including me. And the other 6 of them are all support staff who do basically claiming.
Right.
Or looking for information about, about our title, looking to see, did Sweats report out a title change for us? Did they say that this thing had ceased because I haven't seen this in a long time? So looking for the bulletin information. But the collections people really don't go into SweatsWise. To them, there's no reason to, and we've never given them accounts, and so a lot of the stuff that's on here is collections related, and so not for us. But plenty of other libraries, acquisitions and collections are one thing. So I can see where this makes sense to a lot of people.
Exactly, but this whole screen would not do anything for you.
Not much. I mean, maybe something about the invoices would be useful. But for the most part, because of how we manage these things and whatever, no, it looks very nice. I don't mean to sound like, I don't need anything that's on this page. That's kind of mean. I don't mean to be mean. I'm just trying to say that from
Please,
pure acquisitions viewpoint, that's not why I come in here to use this.
No, but I mean it, be brutal, because otherwise
Yeah.
just say what's on your mind.
Yeah. So I would not, I don't think there would be a lot on this page. I think I would log in here, see this and be like, okay, let me get to the stuff I really need to look at.
Exactly, because you have so many, this would just be a tiny part of everything you have, and therefore it's only on what you have with Sweats.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't give you a real insight into your entire collection or whatever.
Exactly.
Understand, so for a smaller academic, who probably has everything with Sweats, that would be useful. in
Yeah,
that
it
sense.
really could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think so. All right. I
Oh.
think that's about all I have to say on this page. I don't think let me just double check that I didn't miss anything. Well, there's, all stuff down here, and depending on what it says, see, it's not even filled in totally there. So.
No, that's all done yet.
So no, if it's really just the picture part, then I think
Yeah.
we've got all that.
Well, let me tell you a bit more about the idea behind
Sure.
this. It's customizable, like you said. You can
Good.
actually say, I don't want to see that ever, 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 and don't need that ever. I just need that one up there to look at it quick if I want to go to the home page.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't need the screen at all. Never show me the screen anymore, so it'll go directly to the screen
Great.
you do want to see when you start.
Okay, that sounds great.
There's also this gray part here on the right side that will be filled up with all kinds of stuff. For example, a Pinterest kind of social media thing where you can actually share interesting titles with colleagues.
Okay.
If they're within your little circle of preferred social media friends.
Okay.
So that's for that, and also other stuff that could come in useful, but again, you can click it away or
Okay.
want to see it or not. And what actually the only thing that works on this page is if you fill in a title and click enter.
Okay.
If you go search. And it's also
So-
dummy, so you can fill in abracadabra and it'll give you the same results.
Well, let's try it then. Oh, no, wrong keyboard. Well, I got to Abra. Good enough. Are you gonna go? I'm not sure. No, one step. Oops. I'm not sure why everything's all
Me neither.
pink. I probably messed something up. But if I do that, am I supposed to hit enter when I've done
Yes.
this? Let's try that.
There we go.
Okay, so maybe it just didn't. There's too many keyboards.
So,
All right, so now we get a list. Okay, first off, I love this. I'm a huge fan of faceted browsing. We don't have enough of it at MIT, so we're a little hungry for it.
Okay.
You'd think being at MIT we would have solved this by now. No, not so much. So this is really cool. I'm not sure how these are publication formats, but maybe I shouldn't worry so much about the words in there. Chemical
Exactly,
engineering,
yeah.
yeah, okay, fine. And subject, yeah, that makes sense to me. So yeah, that I think is cool. I'm expecting we'd see publication format, journal, ebook, something like that over here.
Precisely.
Or print and electronic. Well, that's interesting. There's public, oh, because there's type here, format. Oh, so this should be like print, electronic, CD-ROM, whatever. I don't know. Well, to be sorted out, whatever. There's things to facet over there. Okay, I'm getting too excited about that. So
No, because
47
I
results.
would like to keep you in the loop on our development of the facets on the.
Okay. I can certainly, we have a similar concept in some of our homegrown databases to manage all of our subscriptions from all of our vendors. So we have something called publication type and publication format. For us, format is print, online, web stuff, CD-ROM or DVD or microformats. That's it. Those are the formats. There's no other formats.
Four.
Yeah. Other formats exist in the world, we just don't have them, so we don't define them.
Okay.
Type is more how we choose to catalog it. Is it a monograph? Is it a serial? Is it a journal? Which is a journal. I mean, a journal is a serial, but at MIT they mean different things. Don't ask. So it's that kind of thing. Is it a monographic series?
Okay.
You
So
know.
this is quite confusing. If you see type there.
We're mixing up a couple different. I mean, this type is format, and this format is subjects. So I can't quite tell where we're going here. It seems like, as long as, I mean, I don't care what the label is, as long as the group of things is consistently together, you could call that group A and group B, and I wouldn't care. I
Oh,
mean,
right.
you know. So that seems fine. But yeah, being able to limit these things is great, and you know, the way the numbers are showing up, also great. So that's good. So then over here we've got a picture of the cover, which is always very nice. You know, subject, title, author, what the format is, da 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 da. I don't know, oh, this must be price, and it doesn't have a, so one question I would have is, again, since Sweats is a multinational company, would the prices show up in my local currency if it were available to be priced in that currency? So there's no currency symbol here, so I guess it doesn't totally matter if it's dollars or euros or, you know, whatever. But it's useful for us to know. I would want to see a symbol there because I'd want to know, oh yeah, it's $1,200. I'm not sure why there's a range of price there. That seems a little odd, but I'm guessing that's what's supposed to be there, and I'm not going to worry too much about why they are like that. I don't know what not in holding means, but that could just be, these are made up titles anyways, at least to a certain extent, or there is really a title called Journal of Happiness
Yes.
Studies. That would make me really really?
Really?
Get out of town. We do not have that at MIT.
Okay.
Okay then. In terms of what's here, ISSN and ISBN are very helpful to us to have. The frequency, super helpful. You know, publication year, if it's a book, also good. We don't tend to order ebooks through Sweats. We tend to order journal subscriptions, print, electronic,
Okay.
for the most part. So most of the people looking in here, at least for the stuff that we have right now, are going to be looking pretty exclusively at journals,
Okay.
which is just based on what we order. Not that this isn't a useful thing. LC classification doesn't matter much to me. It's not something that we would use in an acquisitions process. If collections people were coming in here looking for things, they might find that useful, but they're not. It's not part of our, in other words, selection happens somewhere other than Sweats-wise. Decisions about what to buy happen somewhere else. So displaying that there doesn't bug me, but it doesn't help me. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else there that would be useful to know. You've got the publisher, so that's useful. I mean, I think at that point, we're looking at a list, a brief display of titles, and to be able to pick out the title that I want, this is plenty of information, because it gives me the publisher and the ISSN, which is enough to distinguish it from, if there were 3 different things called density of protein reduction, I'd be able to figure out which one of them I wanted.
Yeah.
I think, you know, from that perspective then, this is useful because if there were a lot of things called the same thing, it'd be helpful in reducing what we're, the list of choices for what we're looking at. A lot of times when we're coming in here, we're looking for something about our, most of the time actually, we're coming in here looking for what we already have on subscription. So we're either coming in and searching by our purchase order number, or we're searching for a title that we already have. So it's a known item search usually.
Okay.
Occasionally I'm coming in here, I mean, I get so few new order requests a year compared to how many subscriptions we already have active. So I'll come in here just to see, like, is this something Sweats can handle? Depends on the title. I mean, if it's a Taylor and Francis title, of course they can. I mean, I'm not going to ask if it's a major publisher. So I'm not even going to, I'm just going to assume that Sweats can handle it. But if it's one, you know, I haven't heard of the publisher, I might look and see, are they already handling this for somebody else? Actually, that brings up a good point. One thing that I would find really useful is to know how many other customers does Sweats have for this title. And it could be in a range, and here's the reason why. We have a lot of weird, esoteric titles. We have the Aga Khan program for Islamic art and architecture, Islamic architecture here on campus, which means that we're ordering a lot of stuff from Pakistan, you know, parts of India. India's not part of that, but parts of the world that aren't really easy to get stuff from. So sometimes we wonder, look, if Sweats is already handling this for other customers, it might be easier if we just put it through Sweats. But if they're not, then it might be just as easy for us to go direct, especially if we can pay, you know, with a credit card or something, or work something out with them or whatever. So sometimes it would be helpful to know how many other subscriptions does Sweats have for this. Now, I don't know how, because if it says 0, then actually I'm sort of, in a way, I'm less likely to put that with Sweats. Not because I don't trust Sweats, but because part of what I'm doing is trying to use my subscription agent judiciously. I don't want